Hi guys, welcome back and welcome me back on a Monday. It's been a while for me do this on a Monday because some Mondays, some weekends, I spent time away at my nan's, and some Mondays I can't. What's the word? I get tired from my nan's, and it's very tiring to be around her because he was, what's the word? He's very chatty is my nan, and she's very chatty, my nan at the moment, and that's why I get tired a lot at my nan's. So yeah, yeah, and fortunately, last week, my dad rang me up on my landline, at my house, about my nan's cat, and my nan's cat passed away. He had a tumor on the other side of his nose. So, yeah, we went back. My nan took Charlie back to the vets, and it wasn't her usual vet. It was a female vet, and she said it is tumor on his nose, so, and that's why he can't breathe very well. So yeah, my nan decided to put him down. So yeah, so that's why he had the scab on his nose, because it was tumor. So yeah. And I didn't even say goodbye to him. I didn't give him a cuddle to say bye, and I didn't even say bye to him, or I didn't kiss him goodbye, or I didn't give him a hug goodbye. And it's very sad for me because he'd been in my life since my granddad was alive, and now my nan's got no one to keep company. But at the moment, she has someone to keep her company. That is my Auntie Susan. So, yeah, and my cousin Amy. So, yeah. But I just think Nan needed another cat in her life, because when Auntie Susan, that her house all finished and sorted, Auntie Susan won't be living with my nan no more. So yeah, it's because reason why my Auntie Susan is living with my nan at the moment, because she's waiting for her house to get ready. So yeah, she sold the house. She sold her other house, and she still got part of her land from her other house. So yeah, so she's gonna move into a new house soon when it's all ready and sorted. So that's why she's living with my nan at the moment. So yeah. So my nan is finding it very difficult to adjust and adapt without Charlie being there. So yeah. I still chat with her on my phone. I fair chat with her some nights on WhatsApp. So yeah, my nan is only on WhatsApp, and that's the only way I can contact her if I need to. So yeah. And I don't like talking to her like on a normal phone, like you normally do, ring someone up and so without seeing their face. I don't like doing that. I prefer see their face. So yeah, because I find it nice to talk, nice have a good communication with them, and nice have a good communication of body language with them. So yeah, and yeah, I like talking to my nan when I'm looking at her. So when I'm not looking at her, I find it a bit weird and a bit annoying. So yeah, so I prefer looking at her when I'm talking to her. So yeah, but she is my best friend, my nan, and I get along quite well with her. So yeah, it's because I'm always there for her when she needs me. So yeah, and like Helen, she's always there for me when I needed her. So yeah, so yeah, so yeah, and what we're doing today is top 10 celebrity crushes. So yeah, and that's what we are doing, and I'm going to tell you near the end what we're doing next Monday. So yeah, I'll tell you in a bit. So, and who's my mascot this week? Orangutan, and his name is Jungle, and his number is 57. So, like my nan's house address is 57 Field Lane. So, like the same number on my orangutan label. So yeah, and my orangutan is called Jungle. And I've been to this hanging outlet with Vicky Mac, and I went on the bus. I went deck number 1 to the station and deck number 7 at the station, and I went to the Haribo place, this soft toy teddy bear called Nicky, the Haribo bear. So yeah, and he's not the mascot today, so he's gonna be when I finish with maybe the TYs or something like that. So he's I put him in as unknown make. Unknown make means I have odd makes in my room and stuff like that. So yeah. So I sleep with Nicky. I slept with him last night, and I slept well last night. But apparently, I heard lots of noises last night in my house, and that kept me awake. So, like squeaky floorboards and stuff like that. I heard like squeaky floorboard downstairs, and I know the staff went to bed at around 10. And I know it wasn't them. So yeah. And there was lots of noises coming downstairs last night. Kept me awake. I don't know why, but I'm gonna find out another night what making that noise. I might have to stay awake all night through to figure it out what is making that noise. So yeah, because it's creeping me out at the moment. So yeah, and there's lots of things creeping me out at the moment. So yeah, I still keep thinking about my aunt's car and stuff like that, and it was very spooky last night. being quiet downstairs. My bedroom is my bedroom is above downstairs, so I can hear lots of noises. So downstairs, so yeah. So yeah, I didn't sleep well last night, but I did some of it. But I heard weird noises last night. My house was turned into a haunted house. Creepy noises and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, let's get on with the first one we are going to do is Will Smith. This is number one, Will Smith. Why I like Will Smith. My favourite bit in I Robot he was in. My favourite bit, he was naked in the shower. Yeah. I had to put that in. I had to because I had to. So yeah. And it makes me laugh when he's naked in the shower. And that's why he's on my top 10 celebrity crushes. So I kind of like him I do love him in that film a lot because he does have a lovely body shape and stuff like that in that film. So yeah. And yeah, and yeah, and I like him when he swears a lot. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, so yeah, because that's why I like Will Smith because my favorite bit is him being naked in the shower in I Robot. So yeah, that's why I like him in that film. And the other reason why I love him in that film because he drives a technology car. So in I Robot. So yeah, and I also like him in Men in Black 1. I'm also liking him in Men in Black 2, and I'm also liking him in Men in Black 3. So yeah, because he's a very funny guy. So yeah. And he's also in Shark Tale. He was the fish in Shark Tale. So yeah. So yeah, yeah. That's why I like Shark Tale because he was in that film. So yeah, and I do have a crush on Will Smith because he's super good looking and all that. So yeah, and he's a good jokester too. So yeah, and yeah, I just think he's so good looking and yeah. And he does do music videos, so yeah, on YouTube. So yeah. So anyway, I like him in. I like him in Will. I like him. In those films. So yeah, because he does have a great smile and stuff like that. So yeah. So yeah, I like him and stuff like that. So yeah, and yeah, I like him a lot. So he's a good fellow. Yeah, let's get on with number 2. Hi, this is number 2. This is Leonardo DiCaprio, and he does do naughty things in Titanic too, like when he sees that Lady Rose on Titanic. He draws us naked on a piece of paper. And yeah, he falls in love with her. So yeah, he's a charmer. He's a charmer. Leonardo DiCaprio. So yeah. I have seen Titanic a couple of times, but not all the way through. So yeah, because I was too young back then to watch it all the way through. So yeah, now I can watch it all the way through if I want to. So I got it on DVD, and also I got it on video. So yeah, so yeah. My nan's got it on video now, and I got it on DVD, so I can watch it when I want to. So yeah, and why I've gone for Leonardo DiCaprio, because he's just a charmer, and everything is about him. Yeah, and he was also in Romeo and Juliet, and the other films. So yeah. And I like him in Romeo and Juliet, so yeah. So yeah, I read the story of Romeo and Juliet, a Shakespeare story of it. So yeah, and I'm a biggest fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, and he also is part of my celebrity crushes. So yeah, I don't know why, but he's just a charmer, he is. So yeah, and what else he was in? Oh yeah, he was in Catsby's, the Great Catsby. So yeah, he was in that. So yeah, I haven't seen it, but I got a DVD of it. So yeah, so yeah, and I have seen a bit of the Iron of the Mask. So yeah, I seen a bit of that when I did a history of that at my school called Applefield. So yeah, I done a history on that. So yeah, yeah, because I like Will Smith. He was good in Titanic and Romeo and Juliet. So yeah, and yeah, and why I like Titanic, because my favorite song was on Titanic. It was called "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion. So yeah, that was on Titanic. So yeah, let's get on with Harrison Ford. The third one we're gonna say is Harrison Ford. Why I like Harrison Ford, because I seen him in the Cold of the Cold of the Wild, and he was he was in that. So yeah, and also he was also in the Star Wars, The Force Awakening. He was in that. So yeah, and he was also in The Secret Life of Pets too. He was in that, and I did not know that. So yeah, and he was also in Cowboys and Alien along with Daniel Craig. So yeah, he was in that film with Daniel Craig. So yeah, Cowboys and Aliens. So yeah, and and also he was in Star Wars, the Ways of Skywalker. He was in that, so yeah. And also he was in all the Star Wars films there is, so yeah. And yeah, and he was in the Star Wars The Last Jedi, so he was in that, so yeah. So yeah. So yeah, I have seen all the Star Wars films, but not the first one and not the second one, so yeah, I have seen four of them. The last four. I've seen the last four of them. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I like Harrison Ford because weird thing. I used to have a camper van, a blue camper van. My mum used to have a blue camper van, a blue Ford Transit camper van. She painted it blue, and she named it Harrison. She named it Harrison Ford, and I don't know why, but she did. So yeah, and now she named the white Ford Transit van Henry Ford. So yeah, and I don't know why. So yeah, so yeah, my mum is crazy. She likes to name vehicles, transport, and animals, and so much more. So yeah. And my mum is weird that way, but I like her that way. And that's where I got that's part of my mum. I named my nan's car. The first car my nan had was a yellow Reynolds McGann, and it was called Molly. I didn't think of a yellow name that goes with the yellow McGann, so at a time, so I said Molly. So yeah, and she took me in to take me to a hospital in her yellow McGann, and the reason why she took me in her yellow McGann to hospital because I broke my arm when I was little, and I had a hospital bear, and I named my hospital bear Molly after my nan's Reynolds McGann. So yeah, and then nan's got a Citroen, silver C3 Citroen called Polly. And that's the same problem again because I didn't think of a silver name for a silver car. So yeah, that's the same problem again. So and then she went for a free C3 Citroen Red called Ruby. I named it Ruby. And then she got the white one, and I named it Pearl. So yeah, I got my mum's problem naming vehicles and stuff like that. So yeah. So yeah, and I remember all my nan's car she had back of her day. So yeah, in my day I had with her. So yeah. This is number 4, Robert Downey Jr. The reason why I picked him because he's a very good Iron Man, I say. And I think in the first one he had all the women dressed up as Iron Woman. So in the first one, so yeah, so yeah, so yeah, I like Robert Downey Jr. because his house was full of technology, and he had a house called Jarvis, and his house talks to him. So yeah, and yeah, that's one thing I would like in my dream house, a house that talks to me. Yeah, and yeah, I want my house to be technology like Robert Downey Jr. So yeah, yeah, because he's a very good Iron Man. Because I've seen Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Which Iron Man I prefer 2 and 3. I prefer Iron Man 2 and 3 actually, because reason why I like number 3, because I like all his Iron Man machines teams up with him in the final scene and protects him from the villains. So yeah, and made it and Robert Downey Jr. turned his suit into a firework display for his bronze pepper pots. So yeah, and he was a very good Doolittle. He did a film called Doolittle, and he was a good Dr. Doolittle in that. So yeah, and I have seen it in the cinema, and I have seen it on DVD. So yeah, and he's very good. He slays the dragon in that one and stuff like that. So yeah, and he died in the end game because that was called Avengers Endgame. He passed away in that, and he didn't. I think he won't do any more Marvel films after that. So that was maybe his thing, that he's not going to do any more Iron Man things. So yeah, and he was in Avengers Infinity War. That was part 1 of Avengers Endgame. So yeah, and Infinity Endgame was the part 2 of the Infinity War. So yeah. And the reason why I said that, because it does follow on. So yeah, and he was also in Spider-Man Homecoming. He helped Peter Parker out become Spider-Man in that one. So he was in Captain America Civil War along with Chris Evans. So I'll talk to you about that soon. So yeah. And he was also in The Avengers, and also he was in The Avengers The Age of Ultron. So yeah, he was a very good Iron Man in those films. So yeah, so that's all the Robert Downey Jr. I have seen him in. So movies I have seen him in. So yeah. So my dad's seen him in Sherlock Holmes movie. So yeah, but I haven't. So yeah, I had watched a bit of it with my dad once, and then I did something else. So yeah, so yeah, so yeah, I prefer him in Iron Man actually, and all the Avengers films. So yeah. because I like his house is full of technology and in Iron Man. So yeah, and Jarvis helps fix his suit for him. So yeah, and stuff like that. This is number 5, Simon Cowell. Helen said he's weird. I think she doesn't like him. More for me then. So yeah. And yeah, and I like him in X Factor. And he was in American's Got Talent. He was in Britain's Got Talent. And I haven't seen him in. I never seen America's Idol. Never seen X Factor USA. And I haven't seen Britain's Got Talent, the champion thing. And I haven't seen Pop Idol. But he was in X Factor Celebrities, and he was also in Australia Talent, and he was also in Canada Got Talent, and he was also on Britain's Got More Talent, and he was also in the Extra Factor, and he was in Mam Talent. So yeah. And stuff like that. So yeah, and he was also in the X Factor, the band. So yeah. So yeah, and yeah, I like Simon Cowell because he's very funny. He's very funny and sometimes rude to the performers. When they come on. So yeah, when they finish doing their bit, he's always rude to them and stuff like that. But it's in a funny way. So yeah, and yeah. That's why I like Simon Cowell because he was also in the Pop Idol, the Idol on Shrek 2, so he was in that. So yeah, and I think he was in what else he was in? Oh yeah, he was in The Simpsons. This is number 6, Julian Norton. He was in my favourite programme on Channel 5, The Yorkshire Vet. Because he was a vet on that programme, so yeah. And yeah, and he born in 3 of June 1972, and he's aged 49 years old. So yeah, and he lives in Castleford. So yeah, and sometime it does show a bit of the Yorkshire side of things. So on the TV of the Yorkshire Vet. So yeah. So yeah, I like Julian Norton because he's got a pet dog and stuff like that. And yeah, I like him in only that programme because I just do, because he helps look after the animals and he help heal them. So yeah, and looks after them. So yeah, and stuff like that. So yeah, I love Julian Norton. Yeah, and sometimes he puts his hand into a pregnant cow and pull the calf out. So yeah, so yeah, so yeah, pull the calf out from the female cow. So if they're having a struggle to give birth, he helps them out to pull them out. So yeah. and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of grim, kind of disgusting program. So yeah, but Helen's Games is disgusting and grim sometimes. So yeah, because because she kills people in her game. She kills people, so that is grim. That is disgusting. So my point is taken. So yeah, and yeah. So if Helen doesn't like this program, she shouldn't play her game at all. So yeah, my point is taken. So yeah, so yeah, that's why I like Julie Van Norton. So yeah. So, because I love Yorkshire Fats, so yeah. This one is Graham Hall. Why I like him because he trains dogs to behave badly. So the show is called Dogs Behave Very Badly. So yeah, and he's always on Channel 5. So or sometime ITV. So yeah, and it was my dad's fault got me into this blooming show. It's because he copies what Graham does, because my dad's got a young Labrador, a young black Labrador called Alfie. And Alfie Salty Sea Dog, Dekker-Turner, that his name. So, and when Alfie's always naughty, my dad finds a way to teach Alfie behave. He finds a way by watching this show. So yeah, and that's why my dad watched it, because he copies what Graham Hall does to teach his dog to behave badly, not behave badly, behave himself. So yeah, and yeah, because my dad doesn't like the dogs that pulls, and he doesn't like dogs that pull themselves. So yeah, so yeah, so my dad always watched this show to find a way to teach Alfie to behave. So yeah. My mum's dog is called Alfie. So yeah, and my dad had rescue a dog before he had Alfie, called Harley. Harley came from Dog Trust, and Harley was brought up badly. Alfie pulls and hump on people and stuff like that. He humped on my arm once and it bruised it, and he clawed me on my hand and hump on my arm and bruised it. So yeah, and it made my dad poorly. So yeah, and Dad decided to take Alfie back to not Alfie, Harley, back to Dog Trust, because Harley was a Dog Trust, a beagle, and he was a big beagle, Harley was, and that's why Dad decided to get a puppy in the end to train it how he wants and stuff like that. So yeah, and he watched this program to find ideas how to behave his dog to behave themselves. So yeah, and my Alfie's like an epilepsy a dog. That if Alfie sensed my dad have epilepsy, he stays with him. So yeah, it Alf is like a guide dog for my dad, but similar to a guide dog. So yeah, but that's why I watch this show, because sometimes they show pugs or French bulldogs on that show, or Labrador on that show, because those are my favourite type of dog breed. So yeah, because I find them so cute and adorable. So yeah. So yeah, that's why I watch this show. Yeah. And why I like Graham Hall, because he's very funny what he does and stuff like that. So yeah, so he does talk serious on the show, but he talks funny on the show. So yeah, that's why I like him a lot. This one is Owen Wilson. This is number 8. So, reason why I like Owen Wilson, it's because he was in Marley and Me and The Wonder. I've seen The Wonder on Netflix, and I've seen Marley and Me on DVD. So yeah, and Marley was a dog, and he was he was the owner of Marley. So yeah. And I like him in that film a lot. So yeah, because he was always there for his dog when the dog needed him. So yeah, and I'm like that when Charlie was alive. So yeah, when Charlie needed me, I was always there for him. So yeah, so yeah. And he born in 18th of November 1968. He was born on that. So yeah, and he was brilliant in Marley and Me. So yeah, and he's very funny. So in Marley and Me. So yeah, and also he was very funny in Wonder too. So yeah. So I give him that, and he's a good-looking fellow. So yeah, and stuff like that. But at the moment, he's got a beard, and that's one thing I don't like about guys with beards and stuff like that. I don't like guys with beards. So yeah, too bristly to kiss. So yeah. Hi guys, this is Dennis Quinn, something like that, and he was in The Parent of the Trap. He was in A Dog's Purpose and a Dog's Journey, and he was also in That's About It. He was in, so yeah. And that's why I like him a lot, because he was a good looking fellow in those films. So yeah. And yeah, because he does have a charming look on his face and stuff like that. So yeah, if I want to date him, I will only date him if he takes me to a fancy restaurant. So yeah, or ride a horse. So yeah, if I date him. So yeah. Yeah, because I seen him ride a horse on The Parent of the Trap. So yeah, and yeah, and I do love horses myself, because I'm a horsey lover myself. So yeah, because my nan used to have a horse called Heather. Oh, Heather was so beautiful, and she was chestnut and stuff like that. My nan's horse was called Heather. So yeah, and I used to ride Heather a lot when I was a little girl, and when I grow old, older, I got fatter and fatter. So yeah, and that's why my nan stopped me riding Heather, because it put strength on Heather's legs. So, and that's house he got laminitis. So yeah, so if you're riding on a chestnut horse, it can't do with your heavy weight on your body. So yeah. And I didn't kill Heather. She died with old age. So yeah, she had lots of ill problems and stuff like that. So she died from laminitis, and I can't remember other stuff. So yeah, and she died from colic too. So yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I do still love horses now. If I want to ride again, I will do, but I don't have time to ride a horse now because I'm always busy. So yeah, and if I get a horse of my own, I ride it when I want to ride it. So yeah, and if I'm busy at a time, I let someone ride it, or I let someone muck the stable out for me and groom it for me. So yeah, so yeah, so yeah. If I get a horse of my own, so yeah, so yeah. I do love horses because horses are in my blood, and like dogs and cats are in my blood, and rabbits are in my blood. Because I used to have a rabbit when I was a little girl. I had Foots and Tits and Daisy and Sky. Daisy was a white rabbit and Sky was a white rabbit, and Fudge was a brown rabbit, and I can't remember what colour Tits was. So yeah. And altogether had 3 rabbits altogether. But they died, and we got another rabbit after they died, and we got another rabbit after they died. So on. So yeah. So yeah, and I don't have any more rabbits now. So yeah. They used to belong to my sister. So when she was younger and used to live with my mum and dad back in her day. So yeah, and and my sister used to have a hamster called Bubbles. He was a brown rabbit, and I thought the cat killed it because I sworn that the cat reached out in the with her hand, her paw, and scared the thing to death. So no, Mum explained it wasn't that. He died with an old age. So yeah, and stuff like that. So Danny used to have a hamster too, along with a rabbit. So yeah, and so yeah. And when my sister was a little girl, she used to see Heather a lot, but now she stopped seeing Heather, and I went to see Heather instead of my sister because my sister grew older and she got busy and she can't be ours to see Heather, so I had more place. I had more chance to see Heather than anyone else in my family. So yeah, because my granddad, when he was alive, he didn't like helping Nan out with the horse. He moans about it to her, and he was round and fat, my granddad, and he had a round stomach, and I know why he was round and fat, because he died from a heart attack, and yeah, and that killed him. So yeah, so yeah, so yeah, like Dennis, if I want to go on a date with him, I ride a horse to watch the sunset goes down. So yeah, and stuff like that. So yeah, or camped out with him and stuff like that. He did a camp out on Parent Trap. So yeah. So yeah, he'd be a perfect guy for me. This is number 10. This is Chris Evans. Reason why I like him because he is Captain America, the first Avenger, and I like him as Captain America because I like his shield where it has stars on it. So yeah, and he was in Captain America: The Civil War. And he was also in Avengers Endgame. He also was in Fantastic Four. And he was also in, he's going to be the Lightyear in 2002 film, the new film. So, yeah. And he was in Avengers Infinity War. He was also in the Avengers and the Avengers Age of Ultron. And because all the Avengers, he was Captain America. So yeah, and he was in Captain Marvel, and I don't know why he was in that. So yeah. And he was also in the For the Dark World. And I haven't seen For the Dark World. I can't remember if I have or haven't. So yeah, and and he was also in Agent Carter. He was also in that. So he's also was in Teenage Ninja Turtles, and he was also in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He was in Ant-Man. He was in Spider-Man: Far From Home, and that's about it. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in the Newcomer. I haven't seen the Superpower Dog. I haven't seen that. The 2 by 2. I haven't seen that. And I haven't seen Saver. I haven't seen the Paperboy. So yeah, all the things I haven't seen. So yeah. So I haven't seen Fantastic Four either. So yeah. And if I want to see one of them, I'm going for the first one. I'm going to see Superpower Dog. So yeah, because it's Golden Retriever Labrador. So he was in that. So yeah. So yeah, I like him as a Captain America. If I date him, he had to wear his Captain America suit and on his date and stuff like that. And if I date him, you have to take me to a film that he was in. So yeah. So yeah, or something, or take me into a car ride or something like that. So that is romantic to the sunset. So yeah, something like that. Bye guys, I'll see you next Monday on the top 10 breed of dogs. So yeah, it won't be Jungle, the orangutan. It won't be. It'll be someone else. I'll give you a clue right now. It's be something. There's a song called Ding Ding Blah Blah Crazy something. So yeah. Helen knows. She's not gonna tell you. So if she did, I'd give her a slap across her backside. So yeah, and if she did tell you, I'll be so cross. So, yeah. She had to keep her mouth shut. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's the clue I'm giving. So, yeah. And, Jungle, my orangutan, is going to say bye. He's waving. And you're going to see me next Monday on the top 10 breed of dogs. And I can't wait to do that because I love dogs. I'm a dog lover myself. So, yeah. And I'll give you lots of facts about dogs next Monday. And I'll tell you why I like those breeds next Monday. So, yeah. And can't wait to tell you about them next Monday. So, yeah. And Helen's going to take me along back home on Thursday. And because I like doing that, because it's good exercise for me. And because he's always parking a car at West Bank Park. But I keep telling her I might pinch it one of these days. So, yeah. Yeah. And I might put a spider on it or something like that. And, yeah. So, yeah. I only like winding her up because I am like a sister to her, so yeah. I'm Helen's sister in heart, so yeah. And because I love Helen a lot because I do have a good relationship with her, so yeah. And that's what best friends are for. So yeah, she's my sister best friend. So yeah. So yeah, and like today, I pranked her a couple of times this morning, putting spiders around the room and scare her with it. So yeah, because she mentioned she's frightened of spiders, but she said, I wish I didn't told you now, Luca. Well, she never keeps her mouth shut from me, so yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I like to make her laugh because that's what sisters are for. So, yeah. So, she needs a sister in her life, so, yeah. She does have one now, me. So, yeah. So, yeah. And I'm glad I'm Helen's sister for now. So, yeah, because I love her for that. So, yeah. I love to torment her. I love winding her up and stuff like that. So, yeah. And, yeah. So, and I can't wait to see her again on Thursday. So, yeah. So, yeah. So I have to say bye on the camera now. Bye guys. I'll see you next Monday on the crazy fabulous Lulu Sashi show. And I'll see you till then. Bye. Orangutan says bye. And I said bye. Bye.